Good day, everyone, especially to you, Ma'am Arlene. I'm Samira A. Calbe.
I am JP Pagkasantos.
Hello everyone, I am Michael G. Fabian.
Hi, I'm Recoming M. Badua.
I'm Rika Jude A. Russell.
I am Mika Alan Limpang.
And we are the Group 3. Welcome to our presentation. For today's topic, we are going to present our analysis on the readings in the Philippine history. Today, we are going to talk about the proclamation and the Philippine Independence. What document is this? What is the content of this document? And what is our analysis to this particular document? So, if you want to learn something about the Philippine Proclamation and the Philippine history, kindly lend me your ears and let's begin. The Declaration of Philippine Independence. The Declaration of Philippine Independence is the document in which Filipino revolutionary forces under Emilio Aguinaldo, later to become the Philippines' first Republican president, proclaimed the sovereignty and the independence of the Philippine Islands from the colonial rule of Spain, after the latter was defeated at the Battle of Manila Bay during the Spanish-American War. This document is very significant in our studies of the Philippine history. Why is it significant? This document reveals the reason behind the Philippine Revolution during Spanish time, and it reveals how the Spaniards treated the early Filipino. This document reveals something about what kind of government did Aguinaldo establish during the time that we gained our independence from the hand of the Spaniards. This document also reveals the real meaning of the colors of the Philippine flag. The Spaniards ruled the Philippines for over 300 years, in fact, to be exact, 333 years. Imagine how many years, but there's a revolution. As mentioned in the document, one of the very reasons is the abuses done by the civil government guard. As mentioned in the document, one of the very reasons is the abuses done by the civil government guard. They killed the Filipinos without any reason, especially the prisoners. The prisoners before, their life is invaluable. If they try to escape, they will be shot by the civil guards. Spaniards treat Filipinos like an animals. This is one of the reasons why there is a revolution. Next is that the prior is also abusive. The prior during this time is making use of the church in order to cement their political dominance in the Philippines. Priors are using the authority to subjugate the Filipinos. In other words, this document is something about the inequalities and injustice experienced by the time of Spanish occupation period, and the early Filipinos then are very pitiful. Imagine that we are the owner of the land in our country, yet we were treated like a servant by the Spaniards. This is injustice, and this injustice is one of the major reasons why there was a revolution period, and it also mentioned about the injustice and the killings that were done by the Spaniards towards the Filipinos. The kind of government Aguinaldo established is also the main idea to understand the Philippine Proclamation. Emilio Aguinaldo was the first dictator, and it was not Marcos. This document also stated the explanation of the colors of the Philippine flag. In the document, you can check out if you want to, and you will see that the Katipunan was stated on the last part of the document that Bonifacio and his good deed or contribution was not mentioned in the document. And lastly, we tend to associate the colors red and blue to courage and peace, but there is a different real meaning of the flag. You will know as we go on with our next presenter.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I am Mika Alan Limpang. Now, I will identify the symbolism used in the design of the Philippine flag. The national flag of the Philippines, in Filipino Pambansang Watawat ng Pilipinas, May 8, 1898, the Philippine flag was first unfurled after the Philippine Revolutionary Army defeated Spanish forces in the battle at Alapan, Imus, Cavite. The national flag was not yet formally announced on the day of that battle. It was formally presented to the people on June 12, 1898. from 1919, when the Philippine flag was once more legalized, until 1940, Flag Day was observed in October, the date the Philippine legislature has restored the flag. The national flag of the Philippines was officially adopted on June 12, 1898. The national flag of the Philippines featured two equal horizontal bands of blue at the top and red at the bottom. A white equilateral triangle is based on the white side of the flag. The center of the white triangle displays a yellow sun with 8 primary rays jutting out from it. Each corner of the triangles also contains a small yellow 5-pointed star. The blue color stands for peace, justice, sacrifice, and truth. The red color symbolizes bravery, courage, and patriotism. The white triangle represents fraternity, liberty, and equality. The large yellow sun symbolizes freedom, unity, democracy, and sovereignty. The 8 rays protruding from the sun are representative of the provinces of Nueva Ecija, Manila, Pampanga, Bulacan, Cavite, Laguna, Batangas, and Bataan. The first 8 provinces that sought independence from Spain, the 3 5-pointed star at the corners of the triangle represents the 3 major geographical divisions of the country, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. We often associated the colors red and blue to courage and peace. Don't you know that the white triangle in our Philippine flag represents the emblem, the symbol of the Katipunan society? Now you might think that the 3 stars represent Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, but it isn't. Based on the document, the 3 stars represent Luzon, Mindanao, and Panay Island. So why Panay Island? Basically, based on the document, these 3 major islands was where the revolution started. Now the sun represents the gigantic strides that were made by the sons of these lands towards the progress and civilization. And the 8 rays of the sun represents the 8 provinces of Manila. Now, the 8 provinces were the Cavite, Bulacan, Pampanga, Nueva Ecija, Bataan, Laguna, and Batangas. The 8 provinces of Manila were declared as on the state of war as soon as the revolution broke out in 1886. So, this is the reason. Now, let's go to the colors of the flag. So, the colors of the flag are the colors blue, red, and white. Did you know that these colors originally based on the proclamation of the Philippine Independence document? These colors commemorates the flag of the United States of America. So you might ask, why the colors of our flag were commemoration to the color of the flag of the United States of America? Definitely, history tells us that the American helped us to gain our freedom from the hands of Spaniards. So Emilio Aguinaldo and together with his new government were grateful to the Americans, but they didn't know that in the Treaty of Paris, the Philippines was sold by the Spaniards to the Americans in the amount of $20 million. So it is sad to realize that there was this declaration of the Philippine Independence.
Ambrosio Renzares Bautista was born on December 7, 1830 and died in December 4, 1903. He was also known as Don Bosyong. He was a lawyer, and in 1898, Bautista became the first advisor to the President Emilio Aguinaldo and subsequently wrote the Declaration of Philippine Independence. As we all know, that back in March 1521, Spaniards started conquering the Philippines, and it's one of the main reasons why our country, the Philippines, had not been able to embrace its own freedom and rights during those times. Our people and land was manipulated and controlled by the Spaniards for over 300 years of domination. However, in June 12, 1898, the Declaration of Philippine Independence was proclaimed and solemnized by the War Councilor and the Special Delegate Ambrosio Renzares Bautista by the dictatorial government of the Philippines, pursuant to and by virtue of decree issued by the egregious dictator Don Emilio E. Fami. The purpose of the declaration was to proclaim the sovereignty and independence of the Philippines from the colonial rule of the Spanish Empire. The Declaration of Philippine Independence is a government-issued document which signed by 98 persons under the revolutionary forces of Emilio Aguinaldo. The purpose of this document is to remind the colonists, and the whole world that the Philippines declared independence from the colonists. This document entails the entirety of all the events happened during the conquest of the colonists in 300 years. This government-issued document represent the foundation of our country's freedom from the colonists, and by that means, we have our right to live without any hindrances and fear. Additionally, the purpose of that action or the Declaration of Independence itself, led by General Aguinaldo, is a wake-up call to all Filipinos to fight for the freedom and to achieve peace and prosperity in the country. That event is one of the most significant and historical part of our country, and that is why we should be forever grateful and honor those people who fight for the right and freedom of our nation.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Jade Santos. So, who is the intended audience of the proclamation of the Philippines independence? The most significant achievement of Emilio Aguinaldo's dictatorial government was the proclamation of the Philippines independence from Spain in Calvet, Cavite on June 12, 1898. The day was declared a national holiday. Thousands of people from the provinces gathered in Calvet to witness the historic event. The ceremony was solemnly held at the balcony of General Emilio Aguinaldo residence. The military and civil officials of the government were in attendance. The declaration included a list of grievances against the Spanish government stretching back the explorer Ferdinand Magellan's arrival in 1521 and confers upon our famous dictator Don Emilio Aguinaldo all the power necessary to enable him to discharge the duties of government, including the prerogatives of granting pardon and amnesty. And also Bautista patterned the act on the American Declaration of Independence, which was signed by 98 persons, among them an American Army officer who witnessed the proclamation.
Hi, I'm Recoming Ambedua, and I will be the one who will discuss or explain what does the Proclamation of Philippine Independence reflects. The Proclamation of Philippine Independence reflects the social and economic discontent of the masses about land ownership and other agrarian issues. This event signaled the Filipino long-held desire to exercise their natural right to freedom and independence. The Declaration of Independence was written in Spanish by Ambrosio Bautista and translated into English by Sulpicio Guevara. It is considered as a significant achievement for Aguinaldo, whose decision to declare independence gave the Filipinos the freedom they had fought for a long time. One of the things Filipinos should never forget is the country's difficult but triumphant journey to independence. The 12th of June, which commemorates the country's independence, is an admonition to Filipinos to cultivate a thirst for knowledge about the country's rich history, including its struggle for independence.
Hello, ma'am. I'm Rika Jude A. Russell, and now I'm going to explain the importance of the Act of Declaration of Philippine Independence. So, this event was also the first time the Philippine national anthem was performed publicly and the first time the flag was displayed. Macapagal said that the proclamation of Philippine independence on June 12, 1898 gave colonial Asia its free and united nation. So, celebrating a happy Independence Day every June 12 in the Philippines is important to the Filipino people because This is the time where country has gained independence from the hundreds of years of colonialism. So, the Declaration of Independence is one of the most important milestone in Philippine history because after being colonized by many nations for hundreds of years and being ruled, don't have freedom. Imagine achieving your freedom after all the hardships you'd been through. It is priceless. So, that is all for this afternoon, ma'am, and have a good day.